All right, YouTube, back into the shop. A couple things that we've done today. I have no reason to do a hedge. I know YouTube likes that, but to be honest with you, you guys don't need to see my ugly mug. You need to see me build an airplane. So this is what we've done. So the instructions specifically I'm still learning how to apply the wax. So on this piece here, I'll kind of show you. What we have to do is with these locking nuts, these are 7 foot-pounds. So what I did is I torqued them down, and after torquing them down, I put this red wax along the thing. I can't draw lines, okay? So you take this red wax and you draw it. I like the sound effects. And then you also do it on the nut side. So what happens is, if that ever, here, I'm gonna stop. And then now we're gonna do this. So the whole idea behind that is once you, once I move this horizontal stabilizer out of the way. Someone put a horizontal stabilizer in the shop. So the thought process is, you should only do that after you torque, and I'll put the torque specifications. I gotta look where the camera's at. It's right here, right here. So after you torque those down, and that is 7 foot-pounds, that's what those need to be torqued down to. So after you torque them down, you run a bead of that red wax. It's like a wax. I kind of feel like I'm sending a secret letter. You know, I need to put my stamp in it. I can't even draw a line, so I can't put a stamp in it. So you put that red wax on the nut and on the bolt and then on the piece itself. And so what happens is if that ever backs off, that wax will break off. And then that lets you know that that bolt or that nut is working itself off. And that's very important to know. You don't want parts falling off your airplane. So another way we do that, you know, the other way that we make sure bolts and nuts and stuff don't fall off airplanes is we wire tie them. And I'm sure we're going to get into castle nuts and all of that stuff later. But for this operation, this is what they recommend you do. So I applied that. I've taken it apart. And yeah, I got to work on drawing my lines. I'm just not never was that type of guy. So whatever that means. So today, what we are going to do is, as you guys remember from last night's video, we have completely sub-assembled or mock-assembled the horizontal stabilizer. Everything lines up. Well, guess what? We got to take it apart. So that is what I will be doing in the shop today, is I'll be taking all those pieces apart, and then the fun begins, all the dimpling. So all of these holes, and I'm gonna stop, switch back around. So all of these holes, these are all rivet holes, and every one of them needs to be dimpled, as you guys know, so our rivets sit flush for aerodynamic, for what they call parasitic drag, reduction of parasitic drag. Parasitic drag is if you had like these clecos sticking out and you're flying, this creates drag on the airplane. So you want to countersink. That's why we countersink. It's not because of beauty. It does make the plane look better, but it's more to do with the drag for reducing parasitic drag on the plane as it's flying through the air. And so that's why we countersink. So all of these holes need to be countersinked. Then in these ribs, because obviously, as you can see, they go inside the ribs. So each one of these ribs here need to either be countersunk, or these are dimpled. These are called dimpled. These ribs, because this is metal, it's hard to dimple. You're not going to be able to dimple this. So what we have to do here is we have to use our countersink and countersink. And so what happens is they come together or lay together, because this is pushed in. When you dimple this, you're going to push this metal in, and you're going to make a little, you guys seen dimpling before, you're going to make a little extrusion on the other side where it's going to stick out. Well, if you don't countersink the corresponding piece, then it's going to stick up. It's not going to mate flush. So we got a countersink. So there's a lot, this operation on this, because of the nature of, you see how big this is, about 15 feet, 13 feet. There's a lot of dimpling that has to happen and a lot of countersinking. The other thing is there are some bolts, I'll switch over here to show you guys. There are some pieces down here. There we go. There's a good. These get screwed because there's a winglet that goes on here on the back of the horizontal, not a winglet, but a cap piece, a fiberglass cap piece. So these get screwed. So I also got to mark these to make sure that I do not dimple those. You dimple skins, you countersink the metal. So that's what we've got to do today. Obviously I doubt I'm gonna get all that done. I'm gonna take it apart. I've got, now that everything is matched and matched up and everything, so I gotta take it apart and number it so it goes back in the same order as before. So that's gonna be a pretty long operation today. So that's what we got on tap today. And like I said, it's a lot of rinse and repeat. Most of the stuff that we have to do to build the airplane, you guys have seen me do. I mean, we put the nuts in, the brackets, we countersunk, we dimpled, we, bucked, we, that's it. And now it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot of rinse and repeat. So that's it. But, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification button. And if you have any comments or anything, leave them if they apply to the airplane. Don't care about all the other stuff. But feel free to put them in there. God, what a big dude. So, my reflection. So what we got to do now is we got to get to work. I got to quit talking.
Playing from iPhone.
I know. Hey, I wanted to share something with you. So the first couple times when I'm undoing these Clecos, I did them from the top and worked down. I found that if you do them from the bottom up, it eliminates the spring back. And these Clecos, they come out a lot easier. If you go from the top down, they will tend to spring there at the bottom. So like I said, what I found, it is better to go from the bottom. It's hard to do this with one hand as I'm showing you. It's better to do it from the bottom up, or from the front to the back, than it is to release here. Because what happens is when you release here, obviously you can see the pressure, it wants to bow out, and it puts a lot of force on that last Cleco. And actually I had one that bent. There was so much force on it. But if you do it from the bottom up, it is a lot less force. You can see look how much spring is in that when I release that. So just a little tip, bottom up when releasing these Clecos.